Oh, mummies. Oh.
Damn!
Take no shit. Take no prisoners. We have beefed up considerably. I'm liking our chances, and we do have lots of supplies.
Mm-hmm.
A Minotaur.
Who's apparently been rolling in the Kool-Aid.
Well, that was easy. I am the mighty Minotaur. You will feel my wrath as you wander my... Oh, no! It's like, wow. I don't think anyone expected him to die that quick.
Mickey Snack.
Cobra. Wow, nice hit, Sonny.
I ship you!
I'm getting good at stabbing people. Oh, more monsters in a box.
Of course.
Another Earth Elemental. Because why not?
I'm starting to think that the Earth Elementals are in locked boxes in closed rooms for a reason, perhaps.
The Earth Elementals were starting to make people really uncomfortable. You know, sexual harassment, HR got involved, so we just put them in boxes, because it was better for the organization.
I've worked in some places where that probably would have been the best option, not gonna lie.
Well, those Earth Elementals look really creepy, like, just literally like, sup? What you doing later? What you doing later? You want to come over and watch Stranger Things? Plot twist, I wasn't talking about the show.
I never actually got into that show.
I didn't either. I mean, I'm aware of it, I know of it, but I never really got into it myself either.
We're starting to show our age.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the access we have with streaming services and stuff. I haven't had cable TV in so many years. But there's just, like, so many shows. Just like there's so many video games, you know? It's like, that sounds interesting, and I'd probably like that, but I don't know when I'll get around to it. There's just so many.
And besides, sometimes you don't want a new show where you have to pay attention and learn the new characters and their motivations. You just want to go back to one of your comfort shows.
Well, like, going back to the video games, one of the things, like this Let's Play series, I've been a Final Fantasy fan since I was a kid, but there's still so many of them that there's a few I've never played. There's some that I've tried to play and get through and never finished them. Like, this one I did finish. Like, I beat this one, like, probably, like, over 10 years ago. Like I said, it was the Game Boy Advanced remake. But, like, I'm excited to go through this whole series with you. Yes, it's a huge endeavor, but for me, it's going to be actually going through these in order and actually finishing them so that I can say that I did. But it's also going to be you seeing a bunch of them for the first time and getting to see you authentically experience them for the first time, right? Like, it's something we get to share together. It's something I really love that I get to share with you. It's fun, you know?
Yeah, you have kind of a unique opportunity in that I wasn't exposed to a lot of these cult classics when I was younger. I don't know what they're like, but I'm also not opposed to learning, unlike some people who insist they have not and will not get into them.
Yeah, and I mean, for those that don't want to get into them, that's okay. I mean, you know, they're just games. I mean, they're fantastic games. You're missing out. But, I mean, you know, some people just aren't into that, and that's okay. But, no, I appreciate that you're willing to go on this journey upon journey upon journey with me to do this, because, like, I know you said you're enjoying this one so far, and they, honestly, in my opinion, just get better and better as we go, especially when they get more story-driven, more character-driven. Look at this troll. What a friggin' troll.
Where's his pants?
I am the troll, and I am much more powerful than the Minotaur. Blech. Who was that troll? They were annoying. But no, bottom line, I'm having fun doing this with you. Oh,
Yeah, like... Oh,
the Minotaur's back and brought friends. Sorry, hold that thought.
none of them are wearing pants.
Hold that thought. They're trying the strength in numbers strategy. Sorry, you were saying?
None of them are wearing pants.
Prior to that.
Oh. What was I saying?
Well, I was talking about, like, how I'm excited to do this with you and such.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I got my train of thought back here. I appreciate that, like, you're kind of holding my hand and showing me these great games that I missed out on when I was a kid. But you're not, like, saying, oh, here's a controller, why aren't you a better healer, get with the program. I can just, like, watch you play and enjoy it as if it's an interactive movie or story, as opposed to, like, being constantly harassed, basically, to play it better.
Yeah, you were supposed to heal me. Do you think this is a game? Yes?
I also appreciate that after a lot of me saying it would be funny and you not too sure about it, that we can name the characters after our cats.
Oh, of course. I mean, most of the Final Fantasies have pre-named characters already. Mm-hmm. This one doesn't, obviously. The version of Final Fantasy III that we'll be playing doesn't either. If you play the DS remake, though, they actually did make them into pre-made, like, characters with pre-made names. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but a lot of them... Around Final Fantasy IV was when the game really started, in my opinion, started to become a lot more story-driven. Mm-hmm. Yeah, more about, like, character development and personal character motivations, like the early Final Fantasies are still great in their own right, but the storytelling, in my opinion, really stepped up its game, pun slightly intended, mm-hmm. with Final Fantasy IV, in my opinion.
What year did that one come out?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So, Final Fantasy I, the one that we're playing now, originally came out on the NES, and that was in the 80s. I think 1986 or 1987. I'll look it up when we're not actively playing the game. And then Final Fantasy 2 and 3 came out, mm-hmm. but never made it to North America at that time. They were NES releases in Japan. Mm-hmm. But by the time Final Fantasy IV came out, that one came out on the Super Nintendo. And the Super Nintendo, of course, was the big, new, exciting system. And it was like, well, we really want to focus on marketing the big, shiny, new Super Nintendo system, mm-hmm. rather than falling back on the NES system, which is kind of, lived out its life. Mm-hmm. Sorry, just Coral Sword. That doesn't do anything more for... I'm fine leaving Pumpkin with what he has.
Yeah, same.
But, we'll head for that stairwell now. But anyways, when Final Fantasy IV was coming over to North America, to avoid confusion for fans in North America, they changed Final Fantasy IV because 2 and 3 had never been released, and they wanted to focus on the Super Nintendo release. Mm-hmm. They changed Final Fantasy IV to Final Fantasy II. So there are Super Nintendo cartridges where you're basically playing Final Fantasy IV with, some poor translation and poorly executed, other things in the game. Mm-hmm. It is Final Fantasy IV, but it is labeled as Final Fantasy II. And Is there nowhere in the game where they actually have a title card saying you are playing Final Fantasy IV that confuse people? No? Okay. No. And it's funny because, like, when you're playing Chrono Trigger, which, another fantastic game, Chrono Trigger, you can get multiple endings in Chrono Trigger, and one of the endings is like a behind-the-scenes kind of ending, where it was all like a movie, and there's like actors and the director team and everything. And one of the guards is like, oh, if you thought this game was hard, you should try Final Fantasy II. So even they're acknowledging that it's called Final Fantasy II. So this was intended to, focus on the Super Nintendo release for marketing purposes, but also to, not confuse people into being like, well, Final Fantasy IV, where's 2 and 3? But in later years, their attempt to avoid confusion actually created quite a bit of confusion for fans, myself included, because years later, when the PlayStation 1 was in the height of its popularity, there were re-releases of these games, and there was one called Final Fantasy Chronicles, I believe it was, and that was a re-release of Chrono Trigger with a bunch of anime cutscenes, which to this day are friggin' awesome. And, firebomb all these ogres here. And Final Fantasy IV. So I remember playing this and booting it up, and it's like, oh, cool, I've never played Final Fantasy IV. Wait a minute. This is Final Fantasy II. And being, like, really confused as a kid, because I was just like, what the hell? And then there was another release, Final Fantasy Anthology, which was Final Fantasy V and Final Fantasy VI. And those also hadn't made it to North America either. So Final Fantasy VI on the Super Nintendo is actually called Final Fantasy III. Are you following me? Like with all this? Like, it's... So basically, long story short, TLDR, FF2, FF3, and FF5 never made it to North America back in the day. Therefore, Final Fantasy I was Final Fantasy I because it was the first. Final Fantasy IV, because 2 and 3 didn't make it, was called Final Fantasy II. And then Final Fantasy V never made it, so FF6 was called FF3.
Holy crap.
Yeah, like, it was very confusing. Trying to explain it to someone who didn't experience it and didn't grow up with the FFs, it's weird. But then once we're at the point now where all those Final Fantasies are available to play. The pixel remasters that we're playing through literally cover Final Fantasies 1 through 6. So thankfully they're available worldwide, which is fantastic. And then from Final Fantasy 7 onward, every Final Fantasy was getting a North American release. It captured that big of an audience by that point. But it's kind of a weird and yet fascinating piece of gamer history. You know?
So, yeah, my very supposedly simple question of what year did this come out turned into a very long lecture, but from the gist of it, I hear that they were coming out before you and I were old enough to play them.
Yes. And
then you had to come into the whole story late and then find out all this fuckery on which game is which according to which person translated it and brought it over.
Yes, and of course, back when I played this, because my first experience playing a Final Fantasy game, like, I'd heard of Final Fantasy, but never really got into it. You remember back in the day, video rental stores, you could go rent a movie, or you could rent a game, or whatever. Well, allowance when I was a kid, and then as I got, older, like, my first job ever was a newspaper delivery route. So I would go and rent, like, I had a buddy who told me about Chrono Trigger, so I would rent that repeatedly on the Super Nintendo. Loved it, still love it to this day. And, but then I saw Final Fantasy II, aka Final Fantasy IV, but at the time, to me, it was Final Fantasy II. And I was like, you know what? I keep hearing about Final Fantasy, and obviously this was like before the internet and stuff, so I couldn't like look, you know, I can't go and look up reviews. I can't go and look up, you know, guides or, you know, YouTube videos of like, oh, you should totally play this game, it's awesome, or stay away from this game, it friggin' sucks, you know, like. But I picked it up and, oh, I could not put it down. It was so good. Like, difficult, like definitely more challenging than Chrono Trigger in my opinion. Especially when you're a kid with like, you know, no sense of strategy and such, but like the story in it, the emotionally driven characters, the character development, you know, like the way when we get to Final Fantasy IV, formerly known as Final Fantasy II in North America, like it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite Final Fantasy. Like, yes, it was the first one I played, but it just holds a really special place in my heart. And I loved that game when I was a kid. Like, I rented it so much. It was, and you know, I'd play it over and over again, and it was fantastic. I loved it.
Well, I hope it doesn't take us too long to play through the 1, 2, and 3 so that I can see what this number 4 is all about, since you like it so much.
Oh, we'll get there. I mean, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, right? I say that as we're going through this dusty, treacherous earth cavern, breathing in all this dust and probably absolutely frigging up our lungs.
I'm trying to remember which doors we've been through.
I'm kind of keeping track while we BS here, but no, bottom line, the Final Fantasy series, like, it just holds such a special place in my heart. Like, I remember being a kid, and I mean, all right, here's where I'm gonna get a little mushy here. So no making fun of me. This is me being vulnerable. So like, when I was a kid, like, I was shy. You know, I got picked on at school, and you know, like there are some issues at home and stuff too, and like just a lot of issues with confidence, you know, and I always knew, you know, grounded in reality, of course, you know, I always knew, like, it's a game, it's not real, you know, like sometimes I wish it was real, but it's not real, right? But you know, when I was a kid, I'd get all defensive. Someone was like, oh, you're just using it as an escape. And I'd be like, no, I'm not. But I totally was. Like, it was an escape from problems, from stress, from, you know, like school or, you know, bullies or, you know, like just not being a very confident kid, being shy. Like, I could go to a world where, you know, I could step up and save the day. I could be the hero. Sonny just got over 200 health. I'm so proud. And, you know, like, and I think a lot of kids do that, you know, whether it's a game or a book or playing pretend or, you know, with their friends or whatever. And like, I did a lot of that too, you know, like, you know, we'd go out in the woods and make like wood swords and beat the crap out of each other and pretend we were knights and stuff. But like, I don't know, it really was. Oh, gosh, these birds can turn us into stone.
Oh, jeez. That's what the golden needle is for, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because Kenzie's turned to stone right now, so... We've got 7 gold needles. They're pretty expensive. They're like 500 gil a pop. Oh, crap. Well... Don't want to screw around with these guys. Okay, good. Glad nobody else got turned to stone. Oh, and we got a gold needle, so we just got basically refunded for the one that we used. Okay, so we got a chest up here. Monster in a box. Oh, surprise, surprise. It's another earth elemental.
It's another creepy ginger.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going?
He looks like that, you know, that really skinny, creepy guy with unwashed hair that, like, asks if you can buy cigarettes for him, and you have to tell him I'm a minor, they wouldn't sell them to me anyway.
Yeah.
Is that a little overly specific, or did that only happen to me?
Well, I grew up in an isolated oil town. Stuff like that happened a lot. Hey, you want to go buy me some beer? I'm 14. I mean, I'm reasonably sure they won't card me either, but I am 14. I also have no money. I spent it all on video games. Oh, there's a bat.
A blue one.
Okay. I'm just checking our health.
Okay.
All things in this world are destined to end in death. Oh, they're going the full Dracula thing. The seal cannot be broken, and so the earth shall rot. Oh, hello, Mr. Vampire.
It's also a creepy ginger.
You cannot alter destiny. Mere mortals cannot kill the undying, and stop killing all my earth elementals. It's very inconsiderate. Alright. Hey, you know, I'm curious about something. Undead, like, we've got Dia, obviously, but in Final Fantasy, undead tend to be weak to, like, curative magic? Oh, is it not going to let me... Oh, what? Okay, in future Final Fantasies, we can actually target the enemies with cures. You can do it in Final Fantasy XI as well. And actually, like, cast cure on them and it hurts them.
Huh.
Alright.
I just found it kind of... I just found it a little funny. There's like, ye mere mortals cannot kill the undying, and it's like, have you missed the spells we've been casting here?
Sure showed him.
Yeah.
We've been working out. We're teaching little impressionable Sunny that all she has to do when she wants to solve a problem is just set it on fire.
Oh dear.
Oh, and we got the Star Ruby.
Okay.
And there's something up here, like a plaque or something.
Yeah, now that we have the other entrance to go through, yeah.
Dia. Oh, Pumpkin's asleep.
Hold on. Yes, he is.
In game and in real life.
Yeah, just checked over my shoulder. Oh, yeah.
A stone slab is set in the floor. An evil force seems to emanate from within.
Oh, we're gonna have to fight our way all the way back down here when we get whatever item it is to break the seal, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much.